What is up? What is up? What is up? It is your godly view show, brothers. We are back. We are back. We are back. We're missing one of our brothers, but I got my brother AB up in the building with me. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing good, Rev. How you feeling today?
Ah, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay, always good
So,
to see you. Always good to be on the panel and join these conversations. I think I missed the last one, so I'm happy to be back.
yeah. Same here. I think I've missed a couple of the ones that the brothers been on, so I'm happy to be back too. So, we got a great discussion tonight. We see our sister Andrea from the Soul Sisters. How you doing, sis?
This
So we got a great discussion for y'all tonight, but y'all already know we got to start it off with our hot topic. And the hot topic is a topic that these people just can't seem to stay out of the news here lately. And that is Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada is promoting her new book, and in her new book, she is letting it out that her and Will have been divorced for some time, are separated for some time now. I'll give my opinion on it later, but AB, I'm gonna let you go first, bro.
you know, I had some thoughts on it because before I realized that she was promoting the book, I just saw the headlines that Jada Pinkett is talking about them being separated for so much time. But when I saw that it was actually connected to a book that was being promoted, then I almost started thinking, here we go again with this Hollywood stuff. I'm not going to get caught up in the Will and Jada Pinkett story again, or because it seems like they can't stay out the news. And they can't stay out the headlines. Like as soon as their names start to die down, somebody has to say something or do something in order to keep their name in circulation. And I understand because you're celebrities and you want to stay relevant. And they always say, any publicity is good publicity, whether it's negative or if it's positive. So, unfortunately, they have not been in the news or in the headlines for any positive publicity lately. It's all been negative, and it's all been real personal about their relationship. But the whole revealing of them being separated for the past 7 years, we've already known that they've had an open relationship. Like that was already you already had an open relationship, was inviting other people into the relationship, sleeping with other people. We know that Will Smith has had affairs with other people. We know Jada Pinkett has had affairs with her son's friend, the August kid. Like putting this word out that you've been separated for 7 years to me is not like revolutionary information. And I'm not surprised by it. And even if you're not separated, I think it's clear that y'all have like an open marriage or open relationship or whatever, however they want to classify it. So if you want to say you're separated, if you want to say it's open, however they want to identify their relationship, at this point, I don't even care anymore. I don't even care no anymore. I think they've have twisted and turned and disrespected the whole institution of marriage. They try to redefine it to what they think that it is. So at the end of the day, I'm not surprised by anything that they say, and I don't even care about anything that they say concerning their marriage, the relationship, or whatever you want to call it, because it seems like they're just doing whatever they want. There's no governing body over what they what the parameters are with their marriage or their relationship. There's no guidelines. There's no kind of higher power that they're going by with the way they conduct their marriage. So it just reminds me of what we always hear, like everybody have their own truth, and it seems like they have their truth and they have their own way of how they want to run their marriage. So at this point, I'm almost tired of hearing about Will and Jada Pinkett Smith's um, shenanigans when it comes to their marriage and relationships. But when I definitely realized that, oh, she's coming out with a book. There, that's what it is. She's coming out with a book. That's why she's back in the headlines, revealing stuff about their marriage. I even cared less than I did before. You're on mute.
Man, my thing on it is I feel the same way you do, bro. You know, to come out and say this after you're promoting a book. Why wasn't you saying this when Will Smith smacked Chris Rock? Why wasn't you saying this when you was talking about your entanglement that you was having with August Alsina? Why wasn't you saying this at all of those times? Oh, because it wasn't convenient for you to say it then. And then to even take it a step further and to bring Chris Rock's name into it even more, talking about Chris Rock asked you out on a date years ago when rumors was out that you and Will was going through a divorce, and you said the second that Chris found out that it wasn't true, that it was just a rumor, he apologized for even asking you out on a date. Why bring this up now? You waited all of these years to bring this up just so you can make some money. At this point, Chris Rock needs to smack Will Smith and tell him keep my name out your mouth, because they are constantly making money off of Chris Rock, off of the situation that happened, off of August Alsina. They're in the public for more of what they're doing than they are making movies or making music. And then my next question is, where are their children while all of this is going on? Their children are sitting here looking at all of this toxicity going on, and then they wonder why their children are acting the way that their children are acting. If they are still seeing their parents acting the way that they act, what do you expect?
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they was talking about this, and the question came up. I guess they started to try to figure out who to point blame at about this marriage and this situation. Some people were trying to point blame at Will Smith. Some were trying to point blame at Jada Pinkett Smith. And to be honest with me, I have a little bit of smoke for both of them. I have a little bit of smoke for both of them because
Uh,
they both are very active participants in all this foolishness. Like you have Will Smith that's supposed to be the leader of this relationship, or this marriage, I should say. You're supposed to be the example. You're supposed to be the protector. You're supposed to be the guide, the provider, and all of this stuff. And you have allowed some real craziness to creep up into your marriage, and you have allowed, or I should say, accepted some of the most craziest behavior and some of the most craziest things that have been said from your wife, or I don't know if you want to call it wife or whatever. It's like you've allowed all this stuff from the beginning. Um, and he's allowed it because he's led it. Like you doing a lot of this crazy stuff as well. So he gets as being a leader and supposed to be the example for his family, not only his marriage, for his family and his kids. Like he gets a lot of blame for this stuff. For me, he holds the bulk of the responsibility of the craziness that's going on in his relationship. But that doesn't mean that Jada Pinkett is totally off the hook because she has said and done some very foolish things as well. I can remember when she was talking about Tupac, saying how Tupac was her soulmate and all of this and that, and even had her daughter writing letters to Tupac, somebody that she wasn't even alive, I think, when Tupac was alive. So, like, what kind of stuff are you teaching your kids, Jada Pinkett Smith, saying that he was your what your I never heard of them being in a relationship. I don't know where she gets that from. But for you to be married and then publicly say that somebody else was your soulmate to a dead guy, like, are you just delusional or was there a affair going on? I don't know what's going on. But so I just got, and then all the other stuff that she's have said on with her red table talk, about their marriage, all the other stuff that's been revealed about their marriage. Because to be honest, most of the stuff that we do find out about their marriage it comes out of Jada Pinkett Smith's mouth. But we do know that Will Smith does his craziness as well. So I have smoke for both of them, and the both of them they can. I don't know if they want to have an open marriage, separate, whatever they want to do. Like have almost like 0% interest in what they're doing anymore. It's
Exactly.
just it's good for conversation, but I barely read past the headlines when I see their names.
Hmm. Because it's some kind of foolery behind it, and it's gotten to the point to where you can't even support Will Smith's work, and he's a great actor, but because of the stuff that he is doing on the outside, it makes it hard to support his work. Kind of the same way with John Morant. He's a great basketball player, but because of the stuff that he is doing outside, it makes it hard to support him.
Yeah, they about to be on the R. Kelly list soon, man. Both of them.
Cancel.
They're gonna be in the R. Kelly list. Like I'm not listening to their music or watching their movies. Like they just full of it, man.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. And now let's go on to our main topic, bro,
Mm-hmm.
which is what are healthy boundaries? That's one of the questions that we need to talk about. What are healthy boundaries?
Yeah, yeah, and this topic it goes hand in hand with the whole Will Smith and Jada Pinkett stuff because
Exactly.
they seem to have absolutely no boundaries. They seem to have, and I should say seem because I don't know those people personally.
Mm-mm.
So whatever they are putting out there for the headlines, for media, I don't know if it's real or false or whatever, but they seem to have no boundaries at all. And when you asked it, and I know the topic is not only boundaries, but can men and women have healthy boundaries or have platonic relationships? That's a conversation that we've been having for years, decades. Can men and women just be friends? So we're going to try to tackle that today. So you asked the question: what are healthy boundaries? I'll try to take a shot at it because it's not always as clear as we might think. But my definition of healthy boundaries when it comes to men and women in relationships is that boundaries allow a person to have, I should say, lines that you cross, or I should say it's like a fence with a gate where it opens and it closes. You allow some things in, you allow some things out. But that gate and that fence is a clear boundary of when you don't want something in your life, you can close that gate. And when you do want something in your life, that you can open it. I think
Right.
our boundaries are based or they're built off of our experience and they're built off our wisdom. our life experiences and the wisdom that we have. Um, and it allows us to be individuals, but it also leaves space for us to connect. So I think practicing good boundaries is that you know who you are, I know who I am, but we don't violate each other's person. But we can still connect and become one, and we can also separate, and we can come back in a healthy way. Um, boundaries. I think with boundaries, we learn to embrace what God has for us. um, we learn to enjoy what God has for us, and we can also keep out the things that God doesn't want for us with healthy boundaries.
Mhm.
So when I think of the word boundaries, I'd always think of a gate or a fence where you can open up, let the good stuff in, but you can also close off and leave the toxic, negative, and unhealthy stuff out. Unfortunately, a lot of us do not know how to practice healthy boundaries. And I think it's several reasons why we can't practice healthy boundaries. Some of the reasons uh, go way back. We have to deal with the trauma. Have to deal with the attachment issues that we have. They have to deal with some of the experiences that we had have in life, whether it's as a child or with a partner or in a romantic relationship. Those things can really affect the way we uphold our own personal boundaries, and how we see boundaries. So I'll stop there, but that's my thought on what healthy boundaries might look like.
Healthy boundaries to me is kind of like what you said, a lot of what you said. But one thing that sticks out to me is healthy boundaries is something that protects your peace. It allows you to protect your peace. It allows you to protect your energy, because there's one thing about it. You can allow certain things around you for so long, and then it starts to drain you. And when it starts to drain more life out of you than it's adding to, then it's time to set those boundaries and be like, do I really need this person, or do I really need this thing in my life? What is it adding to my life? It is something that will, healthy boundaries is something that helps you figure out your why you wake up, why you do the things that you do. It'll help you figure all of that out once you have those healthy boundaries.
hmm I would also say, if I can add, as far as boundaries, because a lot of people that I work with, a lot of couples that I work with, have issues with this boundary word. And what I realized, there's a lot of enmeshment in their relationship, where one person does not recognize or respect where they start and where they end, and they don't recognize and respect where their partner starts and end. So that creates a lot of codependency. It turns from something that we would call empathy to like this enmeshment. Like if I'm happy, you should be happy. If I'm sad, you should be sad. Like there's no healthy boundaries where they can where I can realize that, okay, I'm dealing with something. I'm having a bad day. That doesn't mean I have to take it out on my partner. That doesn't mean that my partner has to absolutely reflect the emotions that I'm experiencing right now. They feel like, okay, if I'm having a bad day, what are you smiling about? Like,
Mm.
what are you happy about? Because this codependency where they just kind of totally rely on each other, and there's absolutely no boundaries on where I respect on who you are as a person, your experiences, the way you see something, and how different it can be from how I'm experiencing something right now. And that causes a lot of conflict when I'm talking to couples. It causes a lot of conflict because one person feels that you are supposed to be a reflection of me 100%, and we're not. We're different individuals. We process things differently.
Facts. I think one thing that makes every couple unique is You're bringing two different individuals from two different walks of life into one so that they can form one union. Now, just because we are like in some ways, we're different in a lot of other ways. So, some ways as you deal with things, I may not deal with them. But we have to respect our differences and figure out how to make it work for the greater good. Next question is: do you think that people confuse boundaries with walls?
Mhm.
I'll let you go first, boy.
Okay. I would say yeah. I would say yeah. In a lot of situations, it is confusing, or people confuse it. Um, I think a lot of people actually put up walls, and they believe that they're practicing healthy boundaries. But like I said before, boundaries allow things to come in and allow things to go out as well. If you put up a wall, you're not letting love in, and you're not letting love out. Someone has to climb over that, or
Mm-hmm.
break through it. So walls, I think they come from a different place than boundaries. Boundaries come from a healthy place. I think walls originate from hurt, pain, abuse, trauma. So we put up our walls to shut the world out and to shut ourselves in. But I think a person that is not functioning on a healthy level will believe that a wall is boundaries, and I hear it all the time. They say, I'm practicing boundaries. No, you're not practicing boundaries. You got up a wall. Nobody can get in, and no one can, and nothing can get out as well. So that means you're not able to receive love, and you're not giving love to nobody. That's not good boundaries. That's unhealthy. You've built that wall off of resentment, and now you have a root of anger and hate and frustration, and you have kind of signed off or walked away from relationships or the opposite sex, and you think you're practicing good boundaries. You're you're protecting your peace. Mm, it can be confusing if you are thinking from a healthy way. So I think people definitely do confuse the two a whole lot.
Definitely. For me, boundaries are they're definitely different. Boundaries and walls are definitely different. Boundaries are there to protect you. Walls are there to block things from coming into you and block you from receiving things as well. Let's be honest, a lot of times, as we said, when you're going through your troubles and all of that, when you're in relationships and if things don't work, when you go into that next relationship, you automatically have that wall up. And what happens? The other person has to slowly but surely break down that wall brick by brick by brick. And then they make one little mistake and that wall goes right back up. All the work that they've done went right back up. And the main reason why is because somebody else in your past did something to you. And because of what that person did, the next person has to pay the price for it. A lot of times with walls, we miss out on our blessing because of the simple fact of we didn't learn the lesson from the past relationship. We allowed the past relationship to make us bitter instead of better. We
Hmm.
allowed that past relationship or situation to have a stronghold on us. We say that we're healed. We take the baggage with us into our next relationship, and that next partner has to deal with all that baggage, drama, and confusion. And to be honest, it's not fair to the next person. They haven't done anything wrong, but because of the fact of what they've dealt with, because of the fact of what you dealt with, you tell them, if you love me, you'll stick right here by me and help me deal with this.
Hmm.
No, I'm sticking right here by you because I love you. However, love don't automatically mean that I gotta stay here and demonized for something that I didn't do. Now, boundaries, what that does is that protects you from being hurt. It protects you from being hurt and protects the other person from being hurt as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, there's a definitely big difference between boundaries and walls.
yeah. I often hear people say that there's no good men out here or there's no good women out here. And I always have to question that because I truly believe that there's a lot of good men and a lot of good women out here. But then I always have to wonder, like, do you have some walls up that's stopping you from seeing the good men or the good women? Have you been so hurt,
Mm,
have you been so traumatized that you now paint everybody with this brush, this paintbrush that everyone is toxic or everyone is out to hurt you or everyone is out to take advantage of you, and that wall is stopping you from seeing, like you said, some of the blessings that might be out there for you. That wall is keeping you away from the blessings, and is keeping you from blessing somebody else as well.
hmm
So yeah, this I think that's something that we definitely have to uh, learn how to distinguish and identify the difference between what is a healthy boundary and what's a wall.
For sure, for sure. Because I mean, until we do that, then we're gonna keep running into that same brick wall, uh, not being healthy. So next question is, what is the well? We pretty much answered it. What is the difference between walls and boundaries? We answered that. Can men and women just be friends?
Yeah, so
hmm
that's the core of our discussion today, right?
hmm
You know,
hmm
we're talking about boundaries, but that's the core. Can men and women actually be friends? What do you think?
For me, I say yes, they can, as long as there's that boundary that is set where when the other person gets in a relationship, like, yo, look, I'm in this relationship now. So there is no, like, none of this other stuff on the side. Like, even if we was doing something before, like, we're not doing that now. Or the communication that we've had in the past, as often as we've had it, that might be cut off a little bit because I have to focus on this relationship. And I have to make sure that this relationship is a main priority. Now, however, where I say that they can't be friends is when you're in a relationship with somebody and the other person has blatantly let it be known to your other partner that, hey, I'm interested in you on this other level. Then that's where the friendship gets kind of tricky because how can you say that you're my friend and I'm in this relationship, but you're blatantly not only disrespecting my relationship, but you're disrespecting me as well?
Yeah, my mind always go to the therapeutic psychological part because that's what I think and that's what I do all day long. So when I'm thinking about the boundaries that men and women practice when it comes to relationships and platonic relationships, my mind always goes to attachment styles and how our attachment styles affect our ability to be in a platonic relationship with the opposite sex. As you know, there's four attachment styles. There's the secure, the anxious, four general ones. That's the secure, the anxious, the avoidant, and the disorganized attachment style. I believe an individual that has grown up in an environment and with parents that cultivated that healthy type of attachment. They receive the support that they need, the encouragement that they need. They receive the validation that they needed as a person, and they've developed like that secure attachment style. I think that individual is able to grow up and know how to practice healthy boundaries so they can have healthy boundaries with the opposite sex. where everything isn't romantic, everything isn't sexual, everything isn't lustful. Um, there's they know that there's a place for that. There's a person for that, but everyone that they meet, every man that they meet, or every woman that they meet, is not that person or that place. I can remember working with a young lady, very young. I shouldn't even call her a young lady. She was a little girl, and she was on my caseload, and we were working in the schools. And this little girl, she had to be maybe in the fourth or fifth grade. She had
Wow.
she had a very hard time um, with social cues. She had a very hard time uh, understanding the boundaries of other people, and mainly men. So as soon as me and my colleague, we both guys came into the classroom, she runs up to us, give us a hug. She runs up and sits on my colleague's lap, and she just like it seems like her attention just came to us. She's total strangers at the time. And her history was that she was sexually abused, even at a younger age. She was sexually abused by older guys. So
Mm.
she felt that that was the interaction between her and when she see a man, that you go jump and sit on his lap, because she,
She was
that's the
taught.
trauma she been through. So she will have a hard time as she gets older in relationships, knowing how to set healthy boundaries for herself, and knowing how to set healthy boundaries on the men that she meet in her life, because she has been conditioned and groomed to believe that that affection or that sexual attention is what men want from her. So that's the way she has learned to respond when she sees a man. So it's stuff like that that really affects, if you really go under the surface, that affects our ability to be in a platonic relationship with the opposite sex sometimes. We just have a whole different view
View.
of people like that, a view of people in a role that they play in our lives. Like when a lot of us men, not all of us, but a lot of us men have been groomed to look at women as sexual objects. A lot of us men have been groomed to see women of the opposite sex as someone that's only there to satisfy, our desires, satisfy our needs. So it's for a man that grew up like that, it's hard for him to see a woman and not view her other than that, and see her as, okay, she's just my sister, she's just a friend, she's somebody else's sister, she's somebody's daughter. No, they see that woman as a sexual object. So how can that person, or how can that brother actually form platonic relationships with the opposite sex? It's going to be very difficult for him to do that unless he, retrains his mind, regrooms himself on how to do that. So I think when it comes to men and women being platonic friends, it goes a lot deeper than we sometimes think about, and sometimes what we see with the naked eye. We've been through different traumas. We've been conditioned and groomed to look at the opposite sex in different ways. So it makes it very hard, not to say it's impossible, but it makes it very hard for a lot of people to develop healthy platonic relationships with the opposite sex because of that stuff.
I agree. I think sometimes we make it harder than what it really has to be.
Hmm.
A lot of times, because, in all honesty, we look at it from the human mindset. You know what? She's a beautiful woman. She's supposed to be mine. Everybody that you run into that is a beautiful woman is not meant to be your woman. That might be somebody that you need for a business side of things.
Hmm.
She may know something in business that you need to know that will help push you to your next level. And what we got to do, I was talking to a friend of mine today, and we was kind of talking on this subject, and she told me, she's like, no woman knows a woman like another woman. She said we will see things that you men sometimes don't see, just like no man knows a man like another man. She said y'all see things that we don't. She said for the simple fact of that y'all, where we look at it as one way, y'all as men see it as something totally different because we're being naive to the fact. So I said that to say this: you got to trust your partner too. If they're saying, "Hey, I'm not feeling this," pay attention to it a little bit. Make sure, because every time your partner says that, don't mean that they're being insecure or something like that. They might see something that you don't.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. Um, and if I could add to the question, can men and women just be friends?
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to stay on the surface and not go all deep and psychological with it, I think it depends. It depends on a lot of stuff. I think it's very hard for a person that finds another person attractive for it to be just platonic friends. Now, they can fake it for a long time. You know, they can, and I'm that's definitely talking from a guy's perspective, because that's what I know best. We can act like we're your friend for a very long time. We can do all the friendly stuff for a very long time, but if
Mm-hmm.
I find you attractive,
We're gonna make our
believe
move.
me, the majority of guys are probably waiting for that little window to open, for that window of opportunity to open, to either shoot their shot, to see, or to see if there's any chance where it could be more than just friends. Like, we could be very patient as guys. Like, you maybe you're in a relationship, or maybe you told us you're just not in that space and time in your life where you're dating or looking for a guy. So we definitely know how to play that friend role, if we're that interested in you. But I think it's very hard for a man that finds a woman attractive
To
to
just be friends.
just be platonic friends without, in the back of his mind, somewhere thinking, when I get a chance, or if I only get a chance, I'm
All I need
going
is that
to,
little crack.
yeah. As soon as I see that little kink in their armor, I'm going to shoot my shot. So I think it's hard. Not to say that it's impossible, but I think it's easier if a man does not find a woman physically or sexually attractive, and to develop a platonic friendship with her.
No, definitely, definitely is. It's funny. I know some guys that will just sit back and patiently wait. They're waiting like they on the bench of a basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
You just let me get one chance, coach. Just put me in the game. I promise you, I ain't gonna let you down, coach. All I need is one opportunity. Give me one
Mm-hmm.
minute in the game. I promise you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can be patient. I don't think. I think a lot of ladies probably get caught off guard with that.
Hmm.
I think a lot of ladies will. Oh, he don't look at me like that.
We've been
Oh,
friends
we
for
just friends.
15 years.
Yeah, that's my brother. And then one day he tried to shoot his shot and try to holler, and then you're surprised and you're offended, and you end the whole relationship. That brother been waiting in the wings for a long time.
Hmm.
Be patient
He's
with
just been waiting.
it. You just patient. And there's some guys that's a lot more patient than others, but there's some very patient dudes.
Oh yeah, for sure. So next question: what stops men from just being friends? In my honest opinion, what stops us from just being friends sometimes is like we said, we not wanting to be your friend. We got enough friends. We trying to be your man. We not
Hmm.
wanting no friends here.
Yeah.
Okay, you saying we your friend? Bet we gonna play that friend card for 15 minutes. We gonna play that friend card just long enough to find out every tidbit of information that we
Hmm.
need. That stuff that your man is messing up on, we gonna stay right there and we gonna be like, okay, she don't like this. Okay, bet. She don't like this. Okay, bet.
Hmm.
I got all the cheat code right here. Failing to realize, women, you just gave the man the every cheat code to everything that he needs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think also, I don't think as men, I should even go further back as boys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we are taught how to be friends with women.
Mm-mm.
I think back to like school, like everything that we did, it was separate. We stood in separate lines. We sat at separate tables. It was boys against the girls. We was always separate. So we aren't really taught or brought up on really interacting with the opposite sex when you're younger. Like is very few guys or boys that know how to just at some point in life we even think that girls are gross. So we're not taught how to develop those type of friendships with women or young ladies or girls from when we're small. So it's very hard as you get older and those hormones start to kick in and you actually start to be attracted to them for you to from uh, switch from not knowing how to talk to girls on just a platonic level to doing it. So. I think it starts way before we even get older, way before we are interested in girls, way before we start relationships. I think we are so divided by gender um, that that we never get comfortable enough with just being platonic friends with women for the most part. Of course, there's some guys or some young boys that might have a lot of girls in his family. So they grew up around girls, so they're very comfortable. They've watched them, they know their mannerisms and stuff like that. So they're very comfortable. But I think for the most part, boys are separated from girls, starting from when they from school age, the age of 5, to all the way until one day we some hormones kick in when we start being attracted to them, and now you expect us to interact with these girls on a platonic level when we was never trained to. We was never groomed to, and we was never taught.
No, we never was. We
Mm-hmm.
was always taught girls was. I think a lot of times as boys we was taught how to make women fall for us. We was never taught how to make a woman be a friend, how to be a
Mm-hmm.
friend with a woman. Like we said, it just wasn't
Mm-hmm.
something we was taught. It wasn't in our DNA.
Yeah. If you was a young guy hanging around with the girls, you'll either get one of two things: hey, get away from them girls, what you doing around them, or uh,
Yep.
you part of the Rainbow Coalition or something. So or you hanging around the girls for because you want to be one. But we weren't taught just to be friends with girls.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Next question: What stops What stops women from being friends with platonic friends with just men?
Yeah, I think that question is probably just on the opposite end, and that might be a little bit harder for us to answer because we're not
No.
women. But
Yeah.
what's your thought?
Hopefully, whoever's watching tonight, y'all can give us that answer. If you're a woman, what stops y'all from that?
Hmm. Yeah, if I could take a shot at it,
Yeah.
um, of course I'm not a woman, so I don't think like a woman at all. But I can only imagine it has to do a lot of the same thing that we get as men. Um, I think young girls growing up are also told and taught to stay away from boys. Um, young girls growing up might be taught or they hear from older women, older sisters, of all the pain and the hurt that they go through. So it's this kind of distrust for men, I think, is planted inside of them at a younger age as well. So I think they kind of have this uh, for the most part. They have this thought or this perspective on guys that we may not be able to be trusted, or we only are after only out to and after one thing from them. So just us coming into the room with them, I think guard and their walls automatically come up until we prove that we can be trusted. But I think the automatic response is that those guys can't be trusted. So if you have that wall up, um, it's hard for you to develop a platonic relationship with man because you don't truly trust him. You don't truly believe that his intentions are pure. And I think that a lot of women, a lot of girls have been taught to look at men in that way. And I'm not taking any blame off of us because I think a lot of guys do approach women in that way. A lot of, like I've been saying, we've been trained to approach women in the sexual way.
Yeah,
So they, as soon as a guy approach them, their minds automatically gonna go to, okay, what he want from me, and that wall goes up. So
I
that's my
think
thought. But I'm not a woman, so
yeah, it's. I would agree with you. I think a lot of the times it's the same thing that we said about the men. They have, and I think a lot of the times they have dealt with men that said they just want to be their friends, but they've dealt with the fact that the men ended up wanting something from them as well. So it's hard for them to trust, like, okay, do you really want to just be my friend? Or are you just saying that long enough to get what you want and then you're gone?
yeah. And I will also add, unfortunately, especially in our community, um, there are so many fathers, so many men that don't play the role that they
Mm,
are supposed to play in their children's lives, in their
going
daughter's
to play.
life. That adds to the distrust. Um, that adds to the fact that I can't rely on you. And those type of things get generalized. It doesn't just stay with their fathers. That might get generalized to all black men. If the first man that was supposed to be there for me, was supposed to raise me, supposed to love me, and take care of me, abandoned me, you know, I definitely can't trust you. That's a stranger. So and that's another part that, as black men, as black fathers, that we need to fix because we don't see how that damages generations and how it damages our daughters, our nieces, moms and things of that nature. So I think that also might play a factor on why it's hard for a woman to develop a platonic relationship with a man.
I agree with that 1000%. It's the fact that we have created that untrustworthy environment.
Mhm.
And well, we got two more questions. What are some barriers that stop women from?
Yeah, I
We
think
just answered
that's
that. We
probably, yeah,
just
that's
asked
probably,
that one.
yeah.
What are ways to build healthy boundaries with the opposite sex?
Hmm. I'll let you grab that one first while I think.
I think one
How
way,
can we build some healthy boundaries? We talked about all the unhealthy boundaries. How can we start building some healthy boundaries with the opposite sex?
one way is discussions like this, having discussions like this to figure out what are women looking for in a man as far as friendship wise, and vice versa with the men, what they're looking for in a woman as far as friendship wise. Learning that every woman that comes into your life or every man that comes into your life is not supposed to be your Boaz or your Ruth. They are supposed to, a lot of them are supposed to be people that are used to help get you to that next level. And a lot of times we make the mistake of falling in love and dealing with an assignment instead of falling in love and dealing with our purpose person.
Hmm. I would say, kind of like I said, how it starts from an early age. I think we as men, since the Soul Brothers, I'll speak to the men. We
Mm-hmm.
definitely have to start to teach young men the non-sexual value of women or of girls. Don't think we talk about that enough with young guys. We definitely talk about the sexual value, that they have, their bodies, what they can do for you, what they can do to you, what we can get from them. We have conversations about that all day. But how often do we have conversations about a young girl's intelligence? How often we have conversations about, her kindness, her generosity, their patience, all those other characteristics that aren't attached to her sexuality.
Right.
And I think once we start to have those conversations with younger men, um, we'll start to paint a different picture of girls and of women, and that would help us to develop platonic relationships a little bit better. Because we'll see, okay, she's better than just what's between her leg or what's in her pants or what she got up top. Like she has something even further up top. She has a brain.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have those conversations more, so we can change perspective on how we look at each other. And and as I always say, I'm not a woman, but I'm sure a lot of the conversations that uh, older women are having with younger girls may not be as healthy as well. When they're talking about men, or when they're talking about past relationships and the hurt that they've been through, or you know, men are only good for whatever, maybe his finances or whatever it might be, or maybe his sexual value. I think it's very important for women to start to have conversations with younger girls about a man's, not only his non-sexual value, but probably even his non-financial value, because we bring a lot of other values as well. So I think the whole perspective of how we look at each other needs to be changed. We need to start to be able to look at each other as really brothers and sisters, if that's possible. Like, listen, I don't want anything from her. She don't want anything from me. I really look at you as a sister, and
Right.
I'm going to treat you as a sister. And I think once you have that kind of mind frame, and you take that approach to the opposite sex, then you're able to develop true, pure platonic relationships with them.
Definitely. Definitely is. It's got to be a mindset shift. It has to be, because right now, we're living in a toxic mindset where in the mindset that we're living right now, we can't just be friends. We gotta want more.
Hmm.
But once we shift that mindset, I think everything will be a lot better.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot, but like you said, it's going to be conversations like this. uh Probably events like this, because they're fighting against a lot of stuff these days. They're fighting against the social media, they're fighting against peer pressure, they're fighting against all these things that are being flashed in front of their all these images are being flashed in front of their face every day. Not only the kids, but even us as adults. So it's going to take a lot for us to get to that point. So I always appreciate this platform for having these positive and uplifting and enriching conversations, because it's not had enough.
No, it's not. And that's what I love about this platform is that we're not scared to have a lot of these conversations that a lot of other ones are a little afraid to have. So y'all definitely tune in next week. The sisters will be back. They have a great episode for you all. So stay tuned, y'all, and we will see y'all next time.
All right.
Love y'all.
Peace.
Peace.